How you doing? This is Blake, live from NAMM 2020. And, you know, today I'm just going to show you a few things about some of the recording, the ways you can do recording on the Montage with OS version 3.0. There's some just cool little tools that I think a lot of people may not be aware of, but it's very slick adding the pattern sequencer in here, definitely. But also using the MIDI, and I'll talk a little bit about the audio recording you do on board. And then what I want to do is just kind of show how I then will transfer this, all the audio data that I'm going to record here directly into Cubase as individual tracks. So, but I also want to kind of show also how you can do multi-track pattern recording and stay in the record mode and move from track to track and just add things and build things with the new pattern sequencer. So first thing I want to show is, wow, as I have a track here in one of my scenes in the pattern sequencer. So basically the pattern sequencer has up to 8 scenes. Each of the scenes are 16 track sequences, essentially. Each part can be its own, you know, drum and guitar and bass and so on. And then, I feel like I'm in church. Sorry, guys. It's very loud here, even with these headphones on, funny enough. Anyway, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to play this, this first pattern that I have here. Now, you'll notice the thing about this pattern is that I don't have a drum track. Now, I could definitely play in my own drum track. That's no problem. But what I'm going to show you is one of the cool ways that you can add, you can take a MIDI file and pull a drum track from a MIDI file and insert it into one of the patterns. So if you have something that you want to play to, it's fairly easily done. So how I do that is I'm going to go up to the MIDI. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go out of this certain performance that I have right here, and I'm going to go to my live set, and I'm just going to grab the drum kit that I'm going to use in my song. Right now, I'm just looking at that single drum kit, but I already have it in that other previous pattern here. So I know that I like this Beechwood snare kit quite a lot, or this Beechwood. It's got a lot of just good, you know, nice poppy kind of sound in here. So I'm going to go in here, select this, and I'm going to drop down into the play record area. Now you see in the play record there's 3 tabs. There's MIDI, there's audio, and then there's pattern. So the MIDI recording in here, how you use that is you can just record directly into this this area here, and it's just a linear recording. I can quantize on input, but I don't do any pattern recording anything here. This is kind of where I just sort of maybe line out some ideas, or I load in MIDI files and check things out. So in this case, I have a MIDI file that I've loaded in here that I really think is cool. And remember, it's just a straight up MIDI file, right? So right here. Now I'll play this back, and I'll put it at kind of the tempo that my song's going to be at right here. So I like this one. This is cool. Okay, so now I'm going to go back to my pattern here. So I'll drop over here. And I'll select my drum track that I have here. This is that same drum track. Now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to drop down into the pattern recorder. So here. And I'm in the pattern mode. Now I'm going to select the drum kit that I'm going to play, which is right here. Now you'll notice in the new pattern area here, there is a edit job area where you have these things that we've added that you like in a sequencer like this, like overview, note, quantize is in here, velocity, and all these kinds of things, track, and so on. So I'm going to move down here where I go to song, okay? Now, you'll see there's 2 things in here. There's get phrase and put phrase. Get phrase is what I'm going to do. Put phrase is if I want to take a phrase that I've already recorded and put it somewhere else, maybe in a different pattern or in a different song. But I'm going to get a phrase now, so I'm going to go down 1 and go to get phrase, and I'm already there. And the song I'm going to go to is this one that is called Multiculti, this one right here. So what I want to do is it's asking me from track 1, which is where that one exists in the song, the pattern here, and I'm going to put it in track 5 into scene 1, which is my first groove here. So I'm going to go ahead and get phrase from that song, and it grabbed that phrase. And now, when I go back to my pattern here, hopefully this all worked out, there's the phrase that I just took from. So I have that pattern here now.
Thank you very much, Yamaha.
Wow. So now I have something to play to. Now I want to show you some kind of cool ways that I like about using this instrument. So I'm going to go ahead and select part or this sound. And what I want to do is I'm going to add tracks, but I'm not going to stop recording. I'm just going to keep sort of adding tracks. And I love that about this instrument. So I hit record. And I can select if I want to do record contrast on input, or I can get it after the fact. In this case, I'll just make it so I am sort of using the record quantize here. Or maybe not. Actually, I'll stay off of that. I'll just record exactly now that I can hear somewhat better. So I have a count off here. So now I've recorded that first track. What I did was I just touched the record light again. You see it's blinking. So that means I'm in record rehearse mode. So I can now freely switch another track here. Maybe go to this guitar one. So I kind of shed around here and get what I want. And then as it comes around to the top, which is about to here, I just touch this record. Now I've dropped into record again. There's my guitar track. And again, I can just hit the record button again and go to another track if I want to. Maybe put in some... So now I've got some tracks in here that I've recorded. And that's the cool thing I love about the pattern recorder in this instrument, is that I can set up things how I want, record stuff, and never drop out of record until I'm ready to go. So now I have something, you know, that I can now do what I want to do with it. So I can take it to, how about I take it to the DAW? So I have it set up over here. I have Cubase opened up here. And I want to show you something that's pretty slick about this. I'm going to go back up to the performance here, and right now I'm going to select part edit, okay? And in the main part edit screen, you have, it says, it's under part settings general, it says part output, main left and right. Well, if I touch on this, I can go to my USB stereo, and I have 32, well, I have the main stereo left and right, and then I have individual outputs, USB 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, all the way to USB 29 and 30. So you actually have 32 audio outputs from Montage to the DAW. On a Modi X, you get 10. You get 2 stereo, and you get 4 additional stereo. You can configure them as mono or stereo as well. So I already have it configured in here. I just have to set each of these parts now to each of the USB 1 and 2. And I'll go to part 2, and I'll set this one to USB 3 and 4. And then I'll go to part 3, and I'll do the same thing, USB 5 and 6. And then I go to part 4, and go 7, 8, right there. 5. Go to USB 9 and 10. Next one will be, of course, 11 and 12. Next one will be USB stereo, 13 and 14. And then my last track, 8 here. Now, not all of these have data on them, but I have it set up now where I can do multi-track recording directly to the DAW. Now, I'm using Cubase. You can use any DAW that does this because what it's looking for is the driver, right? So as long as you're using the Yamaha Steinberg driver, it works. But, you know, we like to use Cubase here at Yamaha. So now I have all of my stuff set up so it's ready to go for multi-track recording. So I'll go back here to my main performance, down to my pattern mode here, and I'm just going to go ahead and arm all these tracks like that. So I have them all set up to go here, and for this purpose, I'll just kind of, you know, I could sync these guys together and everything, but in this case, what I'll do is I'll just kind of drop it down to basically where the tempo is, and maybe hit record so I can hear myself. And you see, hopefully on the screen, I don't know where. That's nothing. You can see where there's data being recorded in multi-track audio, but I'm recording 8 stereo tracks simultaneously directly from Montage, directly to Cubase. So now I have it in the DAW. Once I have it there, then I can use what the DAW is cool for. Things like editing the audio, maybe. Things like, I can turn it down here, it'll still be fine because it's singing. You know, I can go in here and add reverb from Cubase here. I can add virtual instruments here. I can do whatever I want at that point. So you can see that I recorded it. Just drop it off here. And make this a little bigger. Now you're not hearing Montage now. Now you're just hearing my... Now these are all dry tracks. So what is it bringing in when I do that? It's bringing in the insertion effects that are associated to each of those. But this is why you would select an individual output for this. You'd select it because you don't want to bring reverb in on everybody, because you want to be able to have the same maybe reverb for all your tracks and be able to have sends in there. So I would probably set up maybe an effect track in here, which is what they call it in Cubase, and then I put sends in there and I bring in reverb to where I want it here. But yeah, when you listen back, it sounds good and everything. There's no question it sounds good, but it's completely dry, except for the insertion effects. So you still hear the distortion on the guitar. You still hear, you know, maybe an EQ that I have in one of the tracks as well. But this is one thing that I really, really love about Montage and MODX. In fact, all of our instruments do have USB audio interfaces on them. Some of them are just stereo, some of them are multi-track. In the case of the Montage, this one does have the top multi-track, so it does, you know, these stems that fast. I don't have to go through an external audio interface. Now I can do that as well, but this multi-channel thing really helps my workflow when I'm making backing tracks for when I play to songs, or when I'm just making tracks myself using Montage. I really love this. I usually start here in the pattern sequencer now that I have it. Now that we've added it, I can get my ideas down how I want them, and then I could actually make a song chain in here and create a linear song, so I have it kind of already together here. This is just 16 bars because we're just doing a quick video here. But the main thing is getting it to the DAW and having it as separate stems, either mono, in this case I did all stereo in here, but now I can kind of get some real work done once I get over here with the mixing and everything, and then I'd master it over here as well using Wavelab or something like that. So it's just kind of a quick little tour of different ways to work with Montage using the tools on board, but also interfacing with the computer like, you know, everybody's going to hopefully want to do with their instrument when you want to make a track. You want to be able to put it and do it all yourself in your computer. So So that's a brief kind of overview of using OS version 3.0 in Montage. It would be OS version 2.0 in MODX and interfacing with the computer and showing it with the tools we have in front of you here. I didn't even talk about things like the play effects that affect the groove, but maybe that'll be on a different video later on. So thank you so much for listening to me in this rather loud room here, but I think we got through it, huh? So once again, this is Blake Angelos, NAMM 2020, Montage OS version 3.0. Keep watching, there's more coming. Thanks.